Hey guys, this is Julian, trail name Sardines. I did a flip-flop through hike of the AT this past year, 2017, and I'm going to talk to you about electronics that I used on the trail. So let me show you everything electronic related, and I guess I'll include my headlamp here because that's electronic. So, I used an iPhone, and this is the case. I am shooting with the iPhone now, which is why you don't see it in here. Worked out great for me. The way I kept it charged was I carried a 10,000 milliamp Anchor battery. I started with a 5,000 milliamp one, and I ended up, if you don't use your phone that much, that'll work, but I ended up using it more, so I switched out for a 10,000 milliamp, and this gave me basically 3 full charges. And I'd keep my phone in airplane mode all the time unless I need it, and then I would periodically check for service. And you do get service a fair, I'll get to that actually. You do get service a fair amount on the trail. So for charging, I would use this to charge my phone when on the trail, and when in town, I would plug this in the wall, and I would carry a USB cord that had both a lightning head and a micro USB head here, so I can just connect them like that. So I could charge my iPhone like that, or charge the battery bank like this, like this, and then when I need to charge my phone, same cable. So from the battery bank to the phone. So the limitation is I can only charge one thing at a time, but I was fine with that. Now, I also I'm probably the only person that carried wireless earbuds on the trail, the Apple AirPods, but I really love them. So I didn't start out with these. I started out with the traditional Apple corded ones, and I found it annoying because I would have one end hanging from, I usually only listen in one ear, and that would mean there's a cord dangling down, which would get caught, and then I would have to put it somewhere, and the weight would make it fall out of my ear sometimes. So I would only use one earbud because I didn't want, so I could hear around me for animals and stuff like that. So I got these Apple AirPods, and just two things like this. I could use one, and it is super lightweight. They stayed in my ear better than the other ones. The way these work is these each have about 5 hours of battery, so if I'm only using one, got 5 hours in one, 5 hours in the other. And then this case here is a battery also, and charges with the same iPhone cord. I can charge it in town or from my brick. And this case battery, I think it gives you it's 20 hours total for so 20 hours more for both of these. So that worked out perfect, and these I could I listen to music, audiobooks, podcasts, all that with these here, and they just snap in and they charge when they're here. When it was cold, I did hike with my batteries on me in my pocket so they would stay warm, because batteries in the cold, they really, really don't do well. And then I had my headlamp, used 4 AAAs. I wouldn't carry extra batteries. If you're not doing much night hiking, you can probably get away for a month or more without batteries, so you just buy them in town when needed. So I ended up using my phone very heavily on the trail. I started out with a paper guidebook, the AWOL book, but I ended up just using the PDF version on my iPhone, which really you don't use too much battery doing that because your phone can be in airplane mode. You're not using any GPS, so I think if checking the guidebook and taking a couple periodic videos, because I maintain this YouTube channel, so I was taking a decent amount of videos, at least every day something. I would go through 10% a day. Now I had a pretty new phone, so the battery is still pretty good. It was an iPhone 7. So eventually, now when you start taking your phone out of airplane mode and checking for service, that will use up a lot more battery. So I could stretch it, but I would check at least every day, a couple times in the day, for things. And when I was at camp, if I had service, I did use my phone and communicate and things like that. So so you do end up using more battery. So keep that in mind how you're going to use your phone, and your needs may change along the trail. So I end up carrying a larger battery pack for that reason. I also did start using the Gut Hooks app, which is a app-based guidebook, and it does use GPS. So I'd be using a lot more battery when I was doing that. But it all worked out, my whole setup. And then cell service on the AT. Cell service, I had a lot more than I expected. We would have cell service like pretty much anytime most of the time that I checked, there'd be something, especially like when you're at a higher elevation or near a peak. 'Cause sometimes like coming up over a peak, there wouldn't be, but on the other side there would. A lot of times, especially, so I found that the southern and the southern end there was less cell service. I think because it's like more mountainous and a lot of times you're blocked by the mountains. But from like, I want to say from like Maryland through, I don't know, Vermont or something, there's pretty good cell service. Or maybe like, so like Maryland, Pennsylvania, Jersey, New York, cell service pretty much every night. Mainly because you're not like, it's kind of like ridgeline walking there. It's pretty flat. But usually at night you'll get cell service. Towns, you'll have Wi-Fi cell service. So, but you can't rely on it. It's not going to be every night.